Hello there, Mr. Chan here for Algebra 1. Ready to start 7-6, factoring ax squared plus bx plus c. Please grab your note takers and turn to page 159. Note, this is a continuation of 7-5, where a was equal to 1. Today, we are doing factoring where a is not equal to 1. And the technique I'm going to teach you is called the AC box method. We're not going to do the opener today. I'm actually going to write down the steps involved when it comes to solving, factoring these quadratics. So I'm going to work my way around the white page here. So go ahead and cross out the parts that we don't need, and we'll just fit the technique around here, okay? For this first page. So let's go ahead and create a problem from scratch. Back in 7-2, so let's write this down. Let's make a problem up. Okay, let's, from 7-2, multiply a couple of binomials. Let's make something up here. How about 2x minus 5 times x plus 8? This was multiplying binomials. So as you know, we FOIL, in this case, first terms, outer terms, inner terms, and last terms. FOIL is just a fancy way of saying, hey, let's apply the distributive property a few times. And I don't mind if we do like a box, that's fine too. Let's show that particular product right now in a box so you can visually see it. We will come back and use the box to undo this in a moment. Okay, so remember, 7-2 was multiplication. So we have 2x minus 5 along one edge, x plus 8 along the other edge. Okay? All right. First terms, 2x times x is 2x squared. Outer terms, 2x times 8 is 16x. Inner terms, negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And last terms, of course, negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. So back in 7-2, we looked at those four terms and we realized that the inner and the outer terms add up in this case. Negative 5 plus 16x is 11x. Now note that 11x right there. That's a position that's going to be important later on when we try to go backwards of this process for 7-6. So our final answer here is 2x squared plus 11x, the sum of the inner and the outer terms, minus 40, okay? So this is something that we learned in algebra, in 7-2, multiplying binomials. Today, we're going to go backwards. We're going to go from here and to here. We're just going to work backwards. And the process is kind of interesting, okay? This method I'm going to teach you involves the leading coefficient as well as the constant. What am I referring to? When you write down ax squared plus bx plus c, I'm referring to the leading coefficient right there is important, that's the a value, and c, the constant, is the other important value in our method that I'm about to show you, okay? You guys ready? If you have any questions, let us know. This is one of the most important skills that you'll need. They'll carry on for the rest of your algebra days, okay? All right. I call this the AC box hybrid method or AC box method. Oh, sorry, AC. AC literally means A times C. Some of you may have heard about it. Some teachers use a variation of it. They might call it the AC method. They might use the diamond method, the cross method. But it's basically the same. All right, let's do this. You guys ready? All right, here we go. We're going to factor the problem that we just got as an answer from 7-2. Factor this quadratic 2x squared plus 11x minus 40. Okay? Now, first things first, draw a box. Sound familiar? This is a method that I learned actually deep into my career, and I didn't learn this as a student, but I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. So here we go. Step 1. Put the first term in the first box. So our first term is 2x squared. So let's do that, okay? First term is 2x squared, so let's put that in the first box. Great. Last term of the quadratic, put in the last box. Okay, in this case it's negative 40, minus 40. The middle term, you want to put in the lower left outside corner. Sound familiar? So the middle term in this case is 11x. I'm going to put the 11x right here. You guys recognize the 11x right there? Okay. Eventually, that diagonal that gave you 11x, negative 5x and 16x will give you that sum. Okay. That's step 1. Great. Step 2. Multiply the first and the last terms. This is the part where we call it the A times C. In this case, we're multiplying it this way in the box. And when you multiply it, write that particular product right here in the lower right-hand corner. 2 times negative 40 is negative 80x squared. Okay. Step 3 is next. Find factors of AC, the number we just got. Find factors of A times C whose sum is the middle term B. Okay, let's pause for a second, let you guys catch up. Find factors of A times C whose sum is the middle term B. So what you want to do, because the middle term is 11x, this is the B thing, right? We want to think of all the possible ways of getting negative 80x squared. That's what factors mean. So let's list all the possibilities. And if you forgive me, I'm not going to list the x's. That's just assumed. I get a little lazy sometimes. So here we are. It's a negative 80 and negative 1x times 80x. Negative 1 plus 80 is not 11, right? Negative 2 is next. So you can do mental math here. Slowly going down the list of possibilities of getting negative 80. 40. Nope. Negative 2 plus 40 is not 11. Negative 4 and 20. Oh, that's very close. Negative 5 goes into 80, doesn't it? That's a hard one that we missed. 16? What? Negative 5, and there's actually a lot more after that, but negative 5 times 16 is negative 80. Negative 5 plus 16 is positive 11. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your sum. That matches it. Okay? Step 4. Place those factors in the box. It doesn't matter where you put those factors, -5 and and 16, okay? Sorry. So when you put -5, x, and 16, remember, I left those out, by the way. This is the connection there. -5x plus 16x gives you the 11x right there. Put them in the box. And if you take a quick peek when we did this problem up there, notice I didn't put in the same way as we did up there. It doesn't really matter. You'll get the same answer in the end, okay? All right. Now, last step. Find the GCF of each row and column. Greatest common factor is GCF, each row and column. Greatest common factor. And you're done. I do need to warn you, and we'll run into that in a second, okay? There's a little thing that we have to worry about when it comes to finding the GCF. Okay, so let's go to the box here. Let's look at each row. First row, we've done greatest common factor before from section 7-4, where we divide out by some number or variable above. Can I divide it into 2 and 5? No. I can, however, take out an x. Bam, there's your greatest common factor for the first row. X is the GCF. Second row, 16 and 40. I can take a 2, but that's not the greatest. Oh, I can take out a 4? Oh, maybe even more. How about an 8? Yeah, 8 is even better. 8 actually is the GCF for that row. I can't take out any variables, only numbers in that particular row. Great. This is a little tricky now. You got to think of all the possible ways of dividing into 16 and -40. All right, that takes care of the first 2 rows. First column, GCF. I can take out a 2, and from 2 and 16, I can take out an x. Very nice. Last column is kind of interesting. Notice the first term is negative. So I need to warn you guys about a leading term that's negative. So let's make note here when it comes to finding the GCF. If the leading term is negative, this is very important. If the leading term is negative, then the GCF will be negative, meaning take out a negative. Okay? And by the way, before I forget, I just realized something too. When we're using the AC box hybrid method, something to keep in mind before you can apply this particular method, make sure A is positive. If you don't make sure that A is positive, this method will fail. If A is negative, factor out a GCF first. Okay? Want to point that out. So this method only works if your leading term A is positive. When I say factor out a GCF first, make sure it includes the -1, okay? You got to make that negative into a positive. All right, so here in my last column, I have -5 and -40. Obviously, I can't take out an x. I can, however, take out a -5. And ladies and gentlemen, there it is. My original problem represented here using this AC box hybrid method. This takes time to get used to, but this is the method I've been using with my students for the last few years. The other method, of course, is to just guess and check. a lot more difficult. All right, let's try some problems. Let's move on to the next page. There's a lot of little steps, but that's okay. Here we go. Okay. Number 1A. Let me zoom in a little bit. We can afford to do that. Oh, factor each trinomial. Before we do that, we do have to factor any GCF sometimes. So they're asking us to practice that particular skill from 7-4. I'm looking at my 3 terms here, as you know, because they're separated by pluses and minuses. I have a 5x squared, and then minus 35x, and a plus 50. I notice those numbers can be divided by 5. I can't take anything else out, though. When I divide out by a 5, I'm left with an x squared minus, let's see, 35 divided by 5 is 7x, and 50 divided by 5 is 10, okay? So here, this is a situation where I can actually finish this problem pretty easily using the box or guess and check. Notice that the A's, notice that my A value is 1 here. When it's 1, it's actually very easy to just guess the answer, to be honest with you. And I'll show you that right now. Think about it. When we FOIL, there's only one way to get x squared, and that is x times x. There's only one way to get that, right? There's a few ways to get positive 10, though, for the C part. 2 numbers multiplied together will give me positive 10. When added together will give me negative 7. That's my key here. I'm going to list all the possible ways. That means, because it's a minus plus situation, my factors have to be both negative. So I kind of quickly wrote those, and don't feel bad if you take time to figure out what your factors are. You know, it might take some practice with your multiplication tables. That's okay. I just wrote down a pair of factors that are possible. -1 times -10 or -2 times -5. One of them have to add up to -7, and it happens to be the second pair. So that means I'm going to put -2 minus 5, and guess what? I've broken it down into its factors, including a GCF in the beginning, okay? So this is the type of skill I want you guys to start practicing. This is something that you will need for your future here in your math classes. Let's take a look at letter B here. Letter B is a little bit better than letter A, because not only do I have a number I can pull out, a GCF, notice that I have an extra x on the end too that I can take out. So think of a number that can go into 6 and 30 and 24. Now, if it's been a while, you can actually just break it down if you want to. Just for a great review here, 6 is 2 times 3, xxx, right? And 30, of course, is 3, what was that, 2, 5, xx, and the 24 is 2, 2, 2, 3x. So this is how I taught you guys to do this back in 7-4. You look at all the possible ways of breaking it down. And I'm just showing it's a nice quick review. But if you can do it in your head, that's awesome. So right away I see they all have in common a 2 and a 3 and an x. That means my GCF is 2 times 3 times x. And then what's left over are the things I did not underline. They are, of course, in this case, x plus, oh, I'm sorry, xx right there. There's 2 x's I didn't underline. Plus 5x plus 2, and then that's your answer right there. Just clean that up, okay? Of course, 2 times 3 times x is 6x, that's your GCF, and here we have x squared plus 5x plus 4. Now we're not done yet. The quadratic, the remaining trinomial, right, we call that a quadratic because of the power of 2, that's the name of that, can be broken down further. Just like the last problem, okay? There's only one way to get x squared, so that's easy, because when you have a equals 1, we don't need that AC hybrid box method. We can just guess and check like we did in the last section, okay? So we have two things to think about. If A is 1, just guess the answer, like I'm doing right now. Bam, bam. Then what I'm trying to do is find all the possible ways of getting 4, 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. When added together will give me my middle term here, my B value, 5x. Oh, there it is. 1 plus 4 and 1 times 4. So that's guessing and checking. Yay. Any questions? That's when you have some easy problems. Let's jump to the next problem. Any questions? Let me know. That was the last section, basically, those types of problems. Example 2 is when we have to jump to the AC box method. Now it says understand factoring by grouping. They don't teach the AC box method, but it is kind of a form of something called factor by grouping. Factor by grouping is taking the box and lining up all the terms in a straight line. It's very similar if you ever hear about factor by grouping. It's basically my method organized. All right, you guys ready to try? Here, A is not 1. It's bigger than 1. Good thing it's also not negative, otherwise we have to take out a -1, don't we? Here we go. We have a quadratic that we need to factor. Draw a box. Okay. Great. Step 1, put all the terms in the proper spots. First term, first box. Last term, last box. Middle term goes in the lower left outside corner, like that. Step 2, multiply the first and last terms. That's your AC, okay? 10x squared times 3 is 30x squared. Okay, great. Step 3, list all of the possible ways of getting 30x squared and see which ones add up to the middle term, B, 17x. That's what we're trying to shoot for. Okay, so everything's positive in this problem, which means our factors are positive. I should technically write it all out properly. I left out the x's last time. I was being a little lazy. And if some of you are telling me to stop, Mr. Chan, I see it. I agree with you. Oh, did I leave out another pair? I should probably list that too. After a while, you realize you don't have to list all of them once you see, because right there, 2x and 15x does add up to 17x, right? That's your answer right there. That goes into the box. But I'll list the rest just to show you that they do exist. And there it is. That's step 3. Step 4, place those factors into the box. Doesn't matter where. And step 5, find the greatest common factor for each row and column. Okay? Oh, look at that. 10x squared and 2x. I can take out a 2, and I can take out an x. Nice. First row is done. Second row, what's your greatest common factor here? Oh, I can take out a 3. Now be careful. Some kids might say 5 because they're thinking of 5 would be the answer when you divide by 3. But be careful, okay? That's a very common mistake. First column, what divides into 10 and 15? That's 5. And I can take out an x from those two terms. And the last column is kind of unusual. You might be thinking, Mr. Chan, there's nothing you can take out from 2 or 3. There's no x's in both of them. So generically, you have to take out a 1, okay? And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is your final answer for number 2A. You can always check it. That's okay. So final answer is 2x plus 3 times 5x plus 1. Now, I know we don't give kids enough time to practice this kind of stuff, but this is something that I would highly recommend you practice on your own, even after you do the homework, okay? This is a skill that will come back in geometry, algebra 2, trigonometry, and forevermore, okay? They want you to be able to get through this in a good amount of time, okay? You can't drag your heels here. All right, let's try 2B. Here we go. Draw a box. Please yell at me if you have any questions. First term, first box. Last term, last box. Middle term in the lower left-hand outside corner. I'm writing a 1x there just to show you we need a 1. Step 2, multiply the diagonal. Oh, 2x squared times negative 21 is negative 42x squared. Ooh, that means one of them has to be negative and one of them has to be positive for step 3. Find all the possible ways of multiplying together to give you negative 42. When added together will give me positive 1. Now, in your head, you're thinking of all the possible. 142, not even close. 221, no. 314, no. It's probably 6 and 7, right? And that's okay. You can just start going through all the possibilities here. I don't care. And, you know, it's just one of those things. Oh, wait. You know, go look. Once you get to like negative 6x and 7x, because there's a few other possibilities, there it is. I mean, you could get to negative 7x and then 6x and so on and so forth. But eventually, when you hit on it, you can just stop and say, oh, I'm done. I don't have to do all that work. Those two terms go into the box. Negative 6x and 7x. And now we do step 5, the greatest common factor. First row, I can take out a 2. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can take out an x as well. Second row, I can take out a 7. Very nice. First column, take out, oh, can't take out a coefficient. I can take out an x, though. And last column, oh, be careful. My first term is negative, which means my answer has to be negative something. What goes into 6 and 21? That's 3, and that's it. There's my final answer, 2x plus 7 times x minus 3. So for the rest of this particular section, it's just basically more or less the same stuff. Let's go to the next page. Again, this is a situation where practice is definitely important. You can't just watch me do this all day. You guys got to try it on your own. The instructions for example 3 says substitution. Just ignore that. It's not necessary. In fact, it's easier to just use the same method. Let's draw a box. They give us a lot of room here. Substitution is not necessary. First term, first box. Last term, last box. Middle term, outside left-hand corner. I'll put a 1 there again. Step 2, multiply the diagonal. 2x squared times negative 6 is negative 12x squared. Step 3, find all the possible ways of adding together to give you that AC product. When added together will give me negative 1x. That is the key here, negative 1. Oh, I'm being lazy again. Please forgive me. I can leave out the x's. We'll put them back in. That happens a lot with me. Sorry about that. Ooh, almost there. There it is. I'm just going to stop right there and show you can just stop. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. And of course, I'm adding the x's there. Okay, let's put those in there. Negative 4x and positive 3x. Step 5, GCF each row and column. First row, ooh, a 2 and a 4. Take out a 2. X's, oh, we can take out an x, yay. Second row, I can take out a 3. Sounds good. And that's it. Let's look at the columns. I can't take out any coefficients. I can take out an x though. And in the last column, be careful. I have a negative leading term there. And a 2 will go into 4 and 6. And guess what? That's your answer. Yay. Not too bad, huh? This takes practice. It's not that bad once you get the technique down. It really isn't that bad. All right. Next one's the same way. Let's do it. 3B. First term, first box. Last term, last box. Watch those negatives and positives. Keep track of them. Don't lose them. Multiply the diagonal. That's called your A times C. Remember, I sometimes forget this is where you multiply. So 10x squared times negative 1 is negative 10x squared. Now find the factors of AC. That's basically the first and the last term. When added together, it will give me positive 3x. Ooh, whoops. Let's put a 5 there. There it is, negative 2 and 5. Yay. With an x, of course. I'm being lazy there. So negative 2x and positive 5x. And the last step is to do the greatest common factor, each row and column. Ooh, take out a 2x in the first row. Take out a, nothing but a 1 in the second row. Fine. First column, take out a 5x. Last column, nothing but a negative 1. Kind of interesting. There's your answer. See, you notice I kind of go through this kind of fast because the more you practice, the faster it gets to you. But right now, when you are a beginner, take your time. Please don't feel bad that this takes practice. And if you are a little shaky with your multiplication tables, of course, it definitely takes a little more time there too, okay? Grab a multiplication table somewhere to find all your factors. In this case, it was 10, right? We're going to skip the bottom habits of mind and jump to the last page. Yay. And the last page is basically all the same stuff. More practice, practice, practice. Here we go. All right. Just a reminder what we're doing. We're dealing with ax squared plus bx plus c. Number 6 lists all the factor pairs of A, C. Oh, okay. We're just practicing A and C. In this case, A is 2 and C is 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. There's your AC value. So all the possible ways of getting 8 are 1 times 8, 2 times 4. That's it. They just want us to list them. It's good practice. Good mental math. Number 7, let's deal with that. A is 12. C is negative 2. So in this case, it's 12 times negative 2 will give me negative 24. This is a little more challenging because there's a lot of ways to get negative 24. Let's think about them. One of them has to be negative. One of them has to be positive. There's the first pair, right? And I like to systematically start with the smallest numbers and then just go up. There's the next pair. 24 has a lot of possible factors, by the way. A lot of them. Wow, look at that. Now, some of you might be thinking that we're done here, but don't forget about the other values that are bigger than 4 that also become negative. So you got to list those as well. So in this case, we have literally 8 pairs. 8 pairs. Okay. Yay. Now, interesting observation. Looking at number 6 here, I realized that 1 and 8 or 2 and 4 do not even add up to the middle term 7. So number 6 doesn't have a situation where it can factor if we had to go further, but number 7 can. We're trying to, if we had to actually do the problem, which ones add up to negative 5x? And that possible answer is right there. But number 6 doesn't have a possible pair that does that. Sometimes that happens. Not all quadratics can be factored. So number 6 is actually a situation where it cannot be factored. Kind of interesting, because neither of these add up to 7x. But this one does for number 7. Just an observation. Okay, it's kind of cool to see that. Next problem. Tell whether the terms of each trinomial share a common factor other than 1. If there is a common factor, identify it. So basically, they want us to find the GCF. Can you squeeze out anything before we actually put it into a box and factor it? Looking at the 3 terms here for number 8, I noticed that we have 15, 10, and 5. That's pretty easy, come on, right? 5 divides into that. So there's your greatest common factor. Yay. So that was pretty easy. Number 9, let's look at these 3 terms here. And you notice that we have 3, 2, and 1. Yeah, nothing. Nothing, no variables, no numbers. So here the answer is none. So that was a good little practice of GCF. We're going to actually ignore the rest of the directions and just factor by the AC hybrid box method for numbers 10 onward. It's good practice. We should do those definitely. Here we go. Put the first term in the first box, last term in the last box. Step 2, multiply the diagonal AC. That gives me 70x squared. Oh, 70? Oh, interesting. And we're trying to shoot for 17? Well, come on. 7 times 10 works, right? I mean, I can go through all the lists, but that kind of pops in my head. I'll list them just for the heck of it, right? Oops, there's 4 going on. There it is. Okay, yay. Throw that in the box, 7x and 10x. Greatest common factor each row and column, yay. First row, I can take out a 7x. Second row, I can take out a 2. First column, I can take out a 5x. And last column, I can't take anything out. So I need to take out a generic 1. Final answer for number 10. 7x plus 2 and 5x plus 1. You can always check by foiling. Foiling the answer, you'll get the original problem, right? All right, I'm going to proceed with number 11. If there are any questions, let's do it. It takes practice, definitely. Been doing this since I was in middle school. 1986? Holy cow, that's a long time ago. So I just kind of blew through step 1 there. Step 2, multiply the diagonal, 36x squared. Step 3, find all the possible ways of getting 36, and it's all positives. That's kind of nice. 1 times 36, 2 times 18. Oh, wow, that was nice. There it is. Kind of fell into that pretty fast. 2x, put those factors into the box. And step 5, GCF each row and column. It's nice when it comes out really fast. But this method seems to work out the best for our students. First row, take out a 2x. Second row, take out a 3. First column, be careful here, not 2, 3, 6 works. Second column, nothing but 1. There's my answer, yay. 2x plus 3 times 6x plus 1. And the order of those 2 binomials don't matter. You could have said 6x plus 1 times 2x plus 3. It really doesn't matter there. Well, I don't know what they're trying to do with number 12 and 13. They're trying to make you think it's in a box. That's the same thing. The dimensions are basically asking for the binomials, okay? It's no big deal. Okay, here we go. Same thing. Just put in the box. Just doing more of the same stuff. First term, first box. And Gosh, seems a little repetitive, but it's good to be repetitive. Multiply the diagonal here. 30. What was that? 1 times 30, 2 times 15. Oh, 2 times 15? I mean, you could have gone to 310. 5, 6, but I mean, I can list all of them, I guess, all day. But there it is. 2 plus 15 is 17. GCF each row and column. Ooh, I can take out a coefficient there. I can take out only an x. Second row, I can take out a 3. Yep, there it is. First column, 5x. Second column, 2. There's my answer. Yay. Technically, you can apply the AC box method with a equals 1. It goes by really, really fast. In fact, you can just do it mentally in your head. It's not that big of a deal. You guys ready for the last problem? I mean, it's really not that bad. You do need to do some practice, though. All right. Maybe I'll just be quiet and let you guys try it on your own. Look up. See if you get my answer. Look up when you're done. And please don't feel bad that you think that you have to be able to factor these this fast. I've had years of practice. This takes time. Yeah. Take 5 minutes on it, take your time. That's pretty normal for a first timer. Definitely. Please don't feel obligated to go fast. Check your work, definitely. Well, when you're finished, take a look up, see if you get my answer. If there aren't any other questions, I am finished. Thank you for another session. Appreciate it. That's it for me. Until next time, have a good day. Bye-bye.